Today on Locked On Rockies, the losing streak is snapped. More debuts, but more series losses, more strikeouts as the Colorado Rockies continue to plain and simply go through it.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 21st day of April in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind, like so many of you have. We got lots and lots and lots of folks here joining in and keeping me honest here, because we had two commenters making sure that I got caught up on my Rockies history. We had Christopher, and who else did we have? There was someone else. There was another one that we had. Christopher let me know, and someone else let me know. I'm trying to see who else. Anyway, I had a couple of people reach out in the comments and be like, hey, remember, this is the Rockies have made manager moves in the middle of the season before. In fact, it involved Clint Hurdle last time as well. So as much as I remember those, I like when like Rocktober and all like the early stuff, I was still young at that time. I mean, Rocktober happened when I was in middle school. So in terms of being a baseball analyst or podcaster, whatever you wanted to call it, whatever you would like to call me, or just rant and raver guy, those were a little before my time. So kind of not surprising. I forgot about that. But anyway, if you want to be part of the show, if you got stuff on your mind, fire off stuff. We'll go through a couple more comments here in a little bit as the reaction to the Rockies hiring Clint Hurdle. Well, is it promoting, changing jobs? Well, however your technical terms fall into that, but lots of reaction to that. And then, of course, we're going to react to the weekend here as, hey, the Rockies won. And they also were being blown out 12-2 at some point. Got a late rally as well, but injuries mounting for the Rockies here and facing an interesting spot. And while there's still plenty of work to be done, I think we're starting to see signs of Mickey Moniak of what his possibilities can be. There's still plenty of work to go. And as we saw in the doubleheader, we saw the Rockies offense continue to betray them, and we saw the Rockies offense bail them out with Antonio Senzatella on the mound again. So we'll dive into all of that and more on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. This episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So I wanted to first start with some of the injuries here and that the Rockies are dealing with right now. We'll see what happens if Kyle Freeland is impacted by the blister that caused him to leave the game early yesterday. Only about, 2 innings pitched yesterday. Had the 3 runs given up, but only one of them earned, as Braxton Fulford had the full MLB experience kind of in his debut there with the brutal throwing errors that were very costly for the Rockies. But he also hit his first big fly. I believe his first big hit. His first hit in the big leagues was also a big fly as well. So, hey, a little bit easier to soften the blow there, but man, unacceptable. The defense unacceptable there, and I don't want to get lost here on my injury list before we go into the defense, but let's just go through right now the injured list for the Rockies. MLB.com does have Kyle Freeland listed on this latest injury news. Nothing listed as in terms of being out of time, but he is at least listed on this page. Victor Vodnik goes on the IL with right shoulder inflammation. Ezekiel Tovar on the 10-day IL with that hip contusion there, and he's expected to be on the IL at least that whole time. It could be more than that. Chris Bryant, of course, on the IL with that degenerative back disease. Tyro Estrada still recovering from his injury from spring. Austin Gomber now moved to the 60-day IL for the Colorado Rockies there. And so who knows what that really will look like, and when he's back, and when he's rehabbed, and when he's up to snuff to be a starter for the Rockies. And then, unfortunately, the unfortunate news, this isn't an injured list, but Brenton Doyle on the bereavement list after announcing that he lost his child on Instagram there, which is just, I mean, I don't even know how you even come close to approaching the mental challenge that is going and navigating that, returning and being a part of a Major League Baseball team that's struggling mightily. I think there's probably going to be very few years as challenging in Brenton Doyle's life as this one will be. I mean, and it will continue to be a lifelong worth of grief to you just don't even know. I mean that one is just so much bigger than baseball. And then you have to count just how much of the mental game baseball is, mixed with the tough start with the Rockies and this off the field stuff. I can only imagine where Brenton Doyle is at. I mean, how do you recover? I mean, it's just kind of like it's one of these situations that it does show you the resilience of some folks. I mean, it reminds you of Aaron Gordon, right? Of honoring his brother throughout the year, and just how painful the pain that these people are going through, while also trying to navigate the world of being professional athletes, and in Brenton Doyle's case, navigate the world of being a professional baseball player that takes you on the road and through a grueling season. No matter how your team performs, the baseball season is long and grueling, and so nothing but the best of the Doyles, and hopefully they will have all the support that they have, that they can need as they go through a very, very difficult time. Let's see here. But on the just on the side note with that Brenton Doyle thing, remember he was battling some injury as well. So this kind of maybe this time at least will help get the body a little bit more right when it comes to that. The time off from the field maybe will help him be able to rest. What was it, a quad that he had that he was going with? What's left quad soreness. Yeah. So hopefully that'll be something that at least that will heal while Brenton Doyle is trying to heal as a person in mourning. Had the sneeze there. Jeff Criswell, Tyler Freeman also on the IL. Back-to-back sneezes. Criswell, of course, with Tommy John missing the season, and nothing much to from Freeman as well on the oblique. So anyway, a lot of injuries that the Rockies are dealing with, and key injuries there. When you're talking about important, impactful people, having your two most important players out at the same time is pretty tough. And when you're looking at the lineups that the Rockies were throwing out there, and the Rockies had this weekend, you are kind of reminded, you're like, whoa, uh-oh. But this is the time now. This is these guys' opportunity. I mean, if you are Jordan Beck and Sean Bouchard, I mean, this is your time. This is your time. This is where you have to be. Beck making the defensive plays. You got to be a couple of guys that can really make some impacts and really make some noise here. And I mean, it didn't happen much. I mean, there was some guys that had some good stuff. Mickey Moniak, who we'll talk in a little bit, showed some flashes there, and it was good to see the Rockies. Their only losses came within one, but the 11-run explosion was kind of a benefit of the Rockies capitalizing on some errors and weak performance. But they did get the timely hitting. Sean Bouchard picking up a couple of hits in that game with a couple RBI. Nice night for Hunter Goodman as well. Michael Toglia picking up the RBI there, and like I mentioned, Mickey Moniak having that first one. Jordan Beck picking up 3 RBI as well, and a base knock and a walk for that as well. So there were some guys that needed to make some noise and help this Rockies team get back in it there in the 7th and make a game interesting after, unfortunately, it just got away from Dollander there. And then Luis Peralta, just a tough day for them. only, but as mentioned, I mean, this, well, I guess I'll just go back to where it's just, this series kind of still just shows, like, I can't remember if it's Bud Black or what he was saying, but this team, the growing pains are real, right? And I mean, that is the case there. I mean, as this was a Nationals team that was kind of reeling a little bit, a Nationals team looking for their identity, and a Nationals team that gave the Rockies plenty of opportunity to get back and win ball games in this series and take advantage of it. But you look at the first game of the doubleheader yesterday, and this kind of is the story of the Rockies. 4 hits, 2 runs, couple of solo shots. Great that Veen and Moniak got their first, not Moniak, I'm sorry. Veen and Fulford got their first big flies and hit well, mind you. Those balls were struck well. But 3 errors, Fulford, I think, was he accountable for all of those? Sloppy defense. It just mixed with the inability to score, especially at home against a Nationals team that hasn't dominated really anybody, and a pitching staff that isn't supposed to sit there and handle business, but they underwhelm on offense, only picking up, the 4 hits, have the 3 errors. But then guess what? 12 strikeouts in that game. Another game in which the Rockies, it's double-digit strikeouts where they go down, and that's just completely sinks you. And then against Mackenzie Gore in the first game, the Rockies struck out 13 times against Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore had one of the best Coors Field pitching performances of all time, especially when it came to whiff. And then they added on another 4 strikeouts to that for a total of 17 strikeouts against the Nationals in that first game. And then even in the finale, in which the Rockies win, it's another double-digit strikeout night. You're not going to win the close games when you do that. You're not going to be the problem is when you get to that shootout, like game 1, if you're going to strike out 17 times, you're not going to have enough. I mean, of course, and if you look at where all the offense came for the Rockies, it came after Gore left the ball game, of course. But the perfect storm of how to lose a ball game was the game 1 of the doubleheader. Even as your offense or your pitching staff and everything keeps it a close game, makes it a manageable game, keeps it within reach. When this offense guarantees 10 strikeouts a game, doesn't hit a lot of home runs, and can't hit for runners in scoring position, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer. But at least the good news is, in the finale, we started seeing a little bit more elements of who we expected the Rockies to be. But we have to, again, recognize the fact that this is not who we expected on the field right now. And this is on guys who need to make some moments. There are a lot of guys that need to make this moment theirs and be the catalyst that changes things for the Rockies going through this. A couple more news and notes from the weekend, and I want to talk about Mickey Moniak as well, coming up next on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When you start using Monarch, you're going to realize just how much you're spending on food delivery, streaming services, all that small stuff that really adds up, and it'll help you budget smarter and save more. You're not going to need to juggle multiple apps, and you can use Monarch to collaborate with your partner as well. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off. Yes, half off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Locked On Rockies here, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Just a little bit of some context, I think, still important to remember here as the Rockies are, win's a good thing. Head on the road. Take on a Royals team. How are the Royals doing so far this year? I'm going to assume pretty good. That is one of the more exciting teams in baseball. 9-14, actually. A little bit of a scuffle out of the gate here. But certainly licking their chops right here, waiting for the Rockies to come into town, because a good series against the Rockies, a winning series for the Royals against the Rockies, will put them 2 games, at least 2 games. Well, no. 2 games if they get the sweep, 3 games under 500 if they get the series win. So you know that they are hunting wins against the Rockies. I mean that's unfortunately going to be kind of the state of the Rockies this whole time, right? This whole season, right? Is going to be teams that are going to be looking for their chance to keep building on a lead, keep building on a winning streak, or snap out of it, get themselves back in momentum, get themselves back in a rhythm. But we can't hide from this, right? I want to sit here and be excited about a win and all that stuff, but this is just another eye opener for you. This was ahead of game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. This is from denversports.com. Andrew Mason writing this. The loss, the Rockies' 8th in succession, dropped them to 3-17, the worst record for any Major League Baseball team through 20 games since 2002. That is 23 years ago. 23 years ago. It's just such a... Like, that's what continues to get so exhausting about the rebuild and so exhausting about where the Rockies are at. Oh, Rockies have broken another record that has stood for 20 plus years, 30 plus years, 40 plus years. It's just such a weird tenure for Bud Black. When you think about the highs and the lows that he will have under his his resume as Rockies manager, the first to go to the playoffs, the most wins, I think one of the longest tenured and all, XYZ, but also all of the history over the past 3 seasons, consecutive amounts of games trailed, worst start to over 20 games in Major League history in over 20 years. Worst starts in Rockies history. Worst finishes in Rockies history. As much as the growing pains and the experience and all XYZ that they're going through, like when you read those stats and when you go and when you see that, and when you see that it's not just bad, but it's historically bad, that's where the question marks arise, right? That's why people have so much frustration when it comes to where the Rockies are at, because it's also tough because some people will sit and say and explain, hey, it's not just the coaches, the players have to do this. It's the profiles. If you look at the profiles of the players that we're going after, if you're not too surprised. But it's just it does just hammer home the point of, like, when will these results drive the innovation to handle and fix these challenges? I don't know. That's the same questions I've been asking a million times. It just is something where I don't know. And here's another follow-up by Mason here on this piece on denversports.com. 224 strikeouts for the Colorado Rockies through 20 games. The most by any team through 20 games in the modern era. It's just like, again, it's teams go through rebuilds, teams go through struggles, teams go through bad times, but it's the constant worst, first time in modern MLB, first time in 20 years, first time in this, like I said, it's not just bad. It's historically bad. And whether your gripe is with the management, whether your gripe is with the talent, whether your gripe is with everything, we need to start seeing a little bit more. We need to start seeing this version of the Rockies, this roster, start making some surprises, start impressing a little bit, start being the ones to make a change here. Especially with guys that, I mean, this, like I kind of talked about before, when you're Beck, Bouchard, Moniak, this right now is your chance, your time to shine. Especially when the Rockies are trying to figure out where exactly they can fit and where they're going to put Farmer and Martini in there, because those guys have contributed. As much as we've criticized those guys getting playing time, well, you need to put people on the field that can contribute as well. And I know they didn't do much. I think it was Farmer was hot going into the series, then cooled off and kind of bouncing around as the Rockies need to figure out their infield. Aaron Shunk, another name here who's this. I mean, these are all guys who I want to see during this time, even if the Rockies lose, even if the Rockies are, I want to see guys show us a little bit of something, show us something that can impress and flash a little bit of something here. And I think we're starting to see a little signs from Mickey Moniak, and it's still far from where we, of course, where we want and where our hopes to be. But I think we're seeing that Mickey Moniak, if he can develop a little bit further, if he can grow as the Rockies and other teams have hoped, or just, I think, was it Philly and LA, the Angels there? Maybe this time of consistent playing time, which I think it's pretty clear that he'll be the backup center fielder while Brenton Doyle is out. This is his time. This is his moment to not only help the Rockies turn the season around and make it a little bit, start making the right type of history, or stop making it. This is his time to show that, hey, I am the first overall pick. I am getting comfortable and confident here. I can help you win ball games. And he was a big reason why the Rockies did that in the finale there, and was pretty solid over the series there against not the best, of course, because it's still going through it where, oh, look at these good things. And then it's, oh, there's an 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. It's like, oh, inconsistency. But it's so baseball, man. It's such a difficult sport. And I can only really imagine, like how frustrated that team is right now. But it's good to see when you're looking at Mickey here over the series against the Nationals there. He had 3 hits, not a ton of them, but picked up a walk. He had 6 RBI in that series for the Rockies there, including, I thought he had 2 triples in the series. I can't remember quite exactly, but he had a couple of big hits. Did one get taken off? I swore he had 2 hits in the finale. Was one ruled an error or something like that? I thought I might be misremembering, but man, he hits that ball in the gap. That guy's got triple threat all over him. I mean, that's awesome. That's really great to see. Plus, we're seeing them make some plays mixed with Beck. The defense has been such a struggle for the Rockies this year and has been this weekend. But we did see in that win right there what happens when the Rockies play their game. Still want more from the offense, but they did enough, backed up by the good defense. Senza did his job, and they got the dub. So I think if you're keeping your eyes peeled, keeping your eye on something here, I think Mickey Moniak is going to be really interesting to watch. As when we first acquired Mickey from the Angels, and I reached out to Locked On Angels, their biggest thing was talking about consistency, getting him consistent playing time. As my mic stand continues to just absolutely betray me today. Yeah. Anyway, so again, not a blow you away stat line. Still a lot of issues there, especially when you're considering a near golden sombrero there. But I still liked what we saw. I still liked the elements of what we saw. I liked the fact that Beck, Bouchard, and Mickey were contributors here when they were called upon to contribute this weekend. Even if overall it still leaves a lot to be desired, but a win's a win, a dub's a dub, and you'll take our RBI triples any day of the week from Mickey Moniak. All right, let's take a quick break, finish up with some YouTube comments, and we'll wrap things up on this episode of Locked On Rockies. This is the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel where you can find daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel and on your favorite streaming services. We thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Let's see here. Did I want to see anything? No, not much in that piece that I wanted to go through. Okay. Wanted to just read a couple of comments because we had a lot of people commenting about the change from Bam Bam to Clint Hurdle here. So let's see what let's just go through some comments here. TK says, glad you do the show, Paul. Every year I look forward to baseball. It's the best sport in the world. I actually still believe they can turn the season around and be competitive despite Buddy. Hey, there's a lot of the other thing is, there's baseball, the beauty of baseball, there's a lot of it. Unfortunately, it's just the schedule and just the state of the Rocks kind of makes that tough. But it could the entire season could turn around through one good stretch of baseball and turn around. The definition of what it means for the season to turn around, I'll leave that up to you guys because my definition, your definition, everyone's definition of what turning things around for the Rockies this year would be, it will be completely different because there's a lot of different expectations from different people. And it's not surprising that that's the case either. Let's see here. Here's what, let's see. RK says, in my opinion, Hurdle's a fine hitting coach and could be a good manager again, but the only way to fix this franchise is to bring in an outside perspective to be a GM. If an externally hired GM decided to make Hurdle the manager, I'd be more supportive because it would carry more weight. There's just no way this team will ever succeed if guys like Bill Schmidt or the next person to be internally promoted to GM continue to run the operation. I think that was another thing with this. I think there was more criticism, at least in our comment section, starting to being highlighted on Bill Schmidt when it comes to the roster construction and putting this team together. Bud Black is just working with the players that he is given. So that is an interesting point there. Here's what I'm sure this isn't actually their name, but this is your YouTube name here. Rosenmayer. What's frustrating is the hitting isn't the only issue. Just like when an NFL team fires an OC/DC or positional coach when they're off to a poor start, it hardly has any effect on substantive change in the immediate future. I agree. Midseason is hardly ideal for change, but honestly, and I'm scared to say it, but how much worse could it get? Clearly, the entire hires aren't fruitful, but I just don't see any way forward with the crew we're walking with. I mean, the questions will have to be asked at the end of this season, no matter how it goes and where you get to. I mean, it isn't just a matter of, we know that Bill Schmidt has the open door policy for Bud Black, but is Bud Black going to really want to keep going through this? Is Bud Black really going to want to continue to risk his legacy managing a team that hasn't been able to put things together? Obviously, he plays a role in that, a big role in that. But there is an element there. I think more change could be coming to this team by the end of the season. We'll have to see. Here's Christopher saying, funny thing is Clinton was involved in both midseason firings. Relaxing Buddy Bell. Hey, 2 Buds in 32 years as a franchise. That's odd. So Rockies, too, to have 2 managers named Bud. And being replaced by Jim, scheduled every last Sunday, Tracy. That was funny, man. I do remember the Jim Tracy Sunday lineups, man. Woof. First off, and then Christopher adds, first off, Clint is interim manager. Interim makes sense in part because you don't find quality hitting coaches midseason available. And Clint not only knows Coors as a hitting instructor, but as a manager. And knows these kids in the minors where they did hit, but he knows the pressure of being a number 1 overall. But he won't find the replacement, but he won't be the replacement for Bud. Dude didn't want a full season job to begin with. He's mostly retired, but he is a quality hitting instructor. And hey, he got Zach Veen. He's working with Zach Veen, and Zach Veen hit a ball over the yard or over the wall. And Clint Hurdle was the first guy he hugged, according to the broadcast there in the dugout. Let's see here. Another kind words here from Christopher. Really appreciate another Christopher there that I appreciate here. Let's see. Jim says, why not get rid of Buddy Black and put Charlie Blackmon in his place? Could it be any worse? I agree with you, Paul. Try something different. What do you have to lose? Now, that would be something wild. That would be something crazy. And I don't think Charlie Blackmon wants to be a manager yet. Maybe something I could see Charlie Blackmon being interested in maybe down the line. But right now, not so sure. FNL Aviator says, oh, yeah, can we mention something? I miss Trevor Story. If I'm being honest, I almost forgot about him like the last few years because he was struggling, and I felt bad that this trade didn't pan out for him, it seemed either. But I know that I was rooting for him to recover and wishing him well in his career away from our club. Now he's healthy again. He's bringing out the story I remember seeing on a late night in Coors. We would just mash and play stellar defense. It's nostalgic and just always brings out the what if. I'm right there with you. Trevor Story, one of my favorite players in the league, one of my favorite players on the Rockies, when healthy, can just bring everything that's exciting about the game of baseball, for me at least. Great flashy defense mixed with the ability to absolutely hammer the ball. There's a really good chance if he's healthy and stays healthy throughout the whole season, that he is the difference maker for the Boston Red Sox, and he is the reason why this team is successful, or that team is successful down the stretch. When you have as many pluses there, that when the big concern is just keeping him healthy and staying on the field, watch out. He's a good Trevor Story rules. I'm right there with you. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making this your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, go check out our pal Sully on Locked On MLB. Or if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs. After what a Saturday for Colorado sports. Oh, my goodness. We'll be breaking it all down here on the Locked On Podcast Network, so stay tuned for all of your favorite sports on your favorite pods. And until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.